Hey, budget buds. I feel like it's been a long time since I have said that, so I am excited to be doing this video. If you are new here, my name is Natasha, and on this channel, we save for the big things in life on a little budget. And if you are a returning subscriber, hey, budget bud. So I wanted to bring this video because I had a subscriber ask or tell me that she had gone through all of the videos that I have uploaded, but did not see a video of how I got started. And I was like, she's right. I don't have a video of how I got started. So in this video, based on the title, I'm just going to talk about the things that I use to get started in terms of budgeting and sinking funds. And I'm just going to explain those things. I just want to know, like, fine print, asterisk, the caveat here, disclaimer. This is how I understand things, and this is what works for me. I might have said this at another point, but like a budget or your budget, sinking funds, how you choose to do that is highly individualized, right? Like it is what works for you. I would say as long as you are making decisions that put you in a better place financially and that you exercise some fiscal responsibility, then hey, have at it. It's pretty early, so notice I have my mug with my English breakfast tea. I usually drink coffee, but if I have to have tea, it's going to either be peppermint or English breakfast. But enough of that. Let's get to it. All right. So first, I'm going to start off with some of my favorite things when it comes to budgeting. First things first. Oops, sorry guys. I'm going to just shift this up just a little so that I don't hit it. So there we go. Sorry if it's not all the way right in frame, but I'll get there. So budgeting for me had always been like a very, very difficult chore. And I'm not recording. Am I? Oh, sorry guys, I am recording. So I had to think of ways that how could I make budgeting seem less daunting, as well as have a little fun with it. And so for those who know me personally, they know that I collect notebooks and I collect pens. And so my first thing here is like, get a notebook that brings you joy when you see it. Or it is a, this is my designated budget book and this is all that I'm using it for. So these are some books that I've had over time, and I'm just going to share with you. So this one is the Happy Planner Journal, and I got this from Marshall's for $4.99. And this one has the 3 dividers, and each of them are the dotted pages. So you have some guidelines to write, and it's not just a blank page. And so something like this is good because you can do like your income and expenses on one page. You can do your in one section. You could do your sinking funds in another, and then maybe like if you do savings challenges in the last one, or you can split this up however. So I can't wait to actually start using this, but I have a notebook that I'm already using that I got to get through first. So this is the first one. Another one, I had got this in a set of 3 from Walmart, and I got it from the clearance section, and it was $3. And this is also, it says learn to dance in the rain. And so I like this just because, it has a nice little saying, something to ground me in making me feel good as I do my budget. You get what I'm saying. But this is also a dotted one. The dots are a bit bigger, and it's just, I think it's like 60 pages, and it came in a set where it was one was lined and the other was blank. So here's another one. And it's, cute, compact. You can throw this in your bag, your backpack, take it with you. So, if you have a break and you want to dive into your budget, you have your notebook with you. Just a few more. This one was a notebook that I had got from Michael's off of the clearance rack. So I spent $5.99. It's a bit nicer. It has like the split marble and gold. The pages are numbered, and this is also a dotted journal. I have a lot of dotted journals that I collected because once upon a time I thought I was going to get into bullet journaling, but that's another story for another day. This notebook, notice that it is plain. I had got this in a set of 6. This is the Moleskin notebooks. I noticed that Costco, it retails for like about $20 for this set of 6. I had ended up getting this from Marshall's from $14.99. And so it came in neutral color. So it had black, gray, navy, red, and tan, and it had 2 blacks. And so this one is a nice lined notebook. I will say when I show you my pens that I use, they glide perfectly over this. And I also like this because it has a little pocket in the back. This one I got just because, I'm not going to lie, I just bought this recently and I like because it said, let's get wild. I had liked that it had that nice dark like forest hunter green, and I like the cheetah on there. So this is why I got it, and it was $5 from Walmart, and it was near the clearance section, but I noticed it was just a section put up with like lots of different stationery because it's back to school time here where I am. And so this one is nice because it is lined, and then it lays, let me show you how it just lays flat, right? So like you're not having this come up on you, and it's nice, and the pages feel really nice. I bet once I use this, the pens that I like will also glide through this. And then last but not least, I got this regular notebook. I also got this from Marshall's. Can you tell I love Marshall's? It came in a set of 2. And I paid, I think, $4 or $5 for it. It's lined. And then it's just a cute notebook. It has plants all over it. I am not a plant person. My mom is. But I like this because you can find I liked it and I bought it in part because it's just a different design. It's not a regular composition notebook. It is something that I can look at and be like, oh, this is cute. Let's get into the budget. And then I can, write anything here, budget book, and I can put the year, put my name, whatever. So my first thing is get you a notebook that you love, or get you a notebook that is your designated. Oh, sorry, guys. This is your designated, I'm budgeting in this notebook. Okay, there we go. Sorry, guys. I had to fix the camera real quick. So yeah, that's like my first go-to. Get you a notebook. And if all else fails and you're like, I don't care for a notebook. I know people who use budgeting apps like Mint, or I think it's called YNAB. Forgive me if I got those letters wrong, but that's also another. Pen and paper. I used to always do my budgets on pen and paper, and then because I wanted to see how things were changing from month to month, I just wanted to keep them all in the same place. I decided to move to a notebook, but I know people who, would hole punch this and put it in a binder, and that works the same. So some computer paper, some notebook paper, and a pen. Speaking of pens, I'll move this one to the side because I'll use that one a little later. I'm also a pen junkie, right? And so I also, to give myself a good feel when I did my budget, I also wanted to make sure that I was using something that I liked writing with, right? And so these are some of my favorite pens to use. I love the Sharpie pen, the S Gel, and I just got this because it came in this 4-pack. So it has black, red, blue, and green. And I had been, when I started budgeting for real and got serious, I'd been using this blue one, and so I decided to get the different colors. I love a good Flair pen. I work in education. And if those of you who are educators out there and you are working under a dot cam and you're writing on your student materials, Flair pens just pop. And so every time I see like these mini packs, I got this from like Dollar General for pretty cheap. I always get them. And so these are the special edition candy pop. So I have some of these. I also, I got these set of pens from my boyfriend for Mother's Day a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. I think it was 2 years ago. Or a year ago. Lauren is 2, so it was probably a year ago, whatever. And he had bought, and this is how much I love pens, because he had bought me 2 sets of these in different shades. or different colors for Mother's Day. And I like them so much. They're very similar, and you see how the point looks, and it is 0.3 millimeters, and they're very similar to the Stedler fine liners. And so this one I saw, it comes with your classic red, green, blue, black, and then it has these nice neon colors, right? So like if you like to do your expenses in red and your income in green, and then you just want to highlight some things, like, you know, you have options here. And this one at Walmart was $9.99. And then last but not least, I have several of these. I have the, let me separate them out. I have the Sharpie S Note. So, you know, with these, you can, oh, hold on guys. It's the chisel tip, making sure you can see that. So you can either highlight or you can underline with these. And so every month, depending on the month, I choose a different color. And this is what I use to make note or highlight any, you know, things in my budget. I also like the mild liner double ended point. If you watch my budget with me's, when I categorize my expenses, these are the ones that I use. Like this is gas, this is spending, and this too has one tip is the chisel point. Sorry, making sure you can see that. And then the other tip is the fine point. So you can write, underline, all these different things. So the moral of the story for this is get you a pen that you really like. Or a pen that you associate with your budgeting, and you keep it with your notebook, you keep it with your binder, you keep it with your papers, and that is what you use. If you are a office supply obsessive person like I am, of course you, or if you have like, if you're pen bougie is what some people call me, then you're gonna have lots of nice pens or things that you want to use, and that's fine. But again, at the end of the day, something as simple as a pencil works just fine. I remember doing my budget for NACA, and my counselor said, oh, you're bold to do your budget in pen. And she was just making a note like pencil allows you to erase, make mistakes. I do it in pen because if I mess up, I just get to start over and do it again. And I find some deep satisfaction in that. So it's whatever works for you. All right. So now that you've gotten your notebook, now that you've gotten your pens, now comes the, maybe the hard part for some and maybe the easy part for others. Either way, these are things that you just have to know and know well if you're going to make a budget that works for you and something that you can stick with. So in this instance, I am not going to start in any one of these notebooks. I have to put this at a slant, guys. I'm sorry, in order for me to write. I'm going to grab paper and pen, and I'm going to grab this purple S Note. So when coming up with your budget, there's some things you got to know. You got to know your income, and you got to know all of it. So as I've said before, I am a salaried employee, so I know what I am going to get every single time I get paid, and I get paid semi-monthly. Some people are salaried and they get paid weekly. Some people are salaried and they get paid bi-weekly. And so each time the check comes in, they know what they're going to get. If you are a part-time employee or you get paid hourly, you need to also be thinking about, what am I going to have coming in? How many hours did I work for this paycheck? Give yourself a roundabout estimate for taxes. I usually look at my pay stub and do a rough calculation so that I know what I need to be taking away, so that I'm not overestimating on my budget. I also have my retirement fund that gets pulled from that. I have two, so I get another one that gets pulled pre-tax. I have my health insurance, dental, vision, all of that stuff that gets taken out. And so I know those things so that I know exactly what I have coming in. So you have to know what's coming in. Then you need to know what's going out. Oh, before I move on, income. If you have any side hustles, you DoorDash, you Uber Eats, you do Instacart, Shipped, any little side hustle, you have an Etsy shop, you sell things, all of that comes into what comes in, or your income. And so you need to make sure that you have all of that information listed so you can have an idea if you're budgeting out for the month, or if you're budgeting for a paycheck, know what's coming in. Then you need to know what's going out. You need to know all of your expenses and all of your bills. All of them, even the irregular ones. So for instance, I took a loan out against one of my retirement accounts, and that is quarterly. And so I pay it, let me see if I can, March, June, September, and December. And so because it falls on the due date falls in between two paychecks, I always pay it with the last check of the month prior. So my August check. So I do need to make sure that I account for that, so that it's not $34 that somewhere I forget and then I spend or allocate for something else, and then it's like gone, right? And then I can't figure out where I'm going to get that money from, or, you know what, essentially no surprises. No surprises. All right. Now, I'm sharing what works for me. You do what works for you. But knowing your income, the money coming in, and knowing your expenses and bills, the money coming out, that should be everybody, right? So then I consider my tithe and savings. So I will say that I pay my tithe first every time I get paid, but that's just because I know what I have coming out. And of course, my tithe is my 10%. And then I pay myself. So I pay myself roughly 5% of my income. And the goal is to increase that as I pay down debt, but that's what comes out for me. I pay the Lord, and then I pay myself. Simple. Just the Lord and myself. And for me, when I say I pay my tithe, it's really I give back to the Lord what is his, and he definitely blesses what I have remaining. Then I consider any miscellaneous expenses. Hopefully you guys, let me move this up a bit. There we go. Uh-oh. All right, guys. And what I mean by this, these are like one-offs that my sinking funds cannot handle, or I don't have enough in my sinking funds. So prime example of this, from my July budget with me, and I'll link that in the cards, I had to pay my sorority dues. And sorry, guys, you might have caught some of my thigh there, and I apologize. I did not have enough in my sorority sinking fund to pay for the dues. And so essentially I had to budget out for that, and that was okay. But I wanted to make sure that I accounted for that so that it could be paid when it was due, and that's fine. Sometimes I've had hair appointments come up, my hair envelope does not have enough, and I want to make sure that I budget for that. So that is something that I know I can pay for. And then I'll use a separate sheet of paper. Once I have done that, I consider my sinking funds. And so this is now a great segue into explaining sinking funds, and also talking about how I got started with my sinking funds. And so sinking funds, and I'm going to put a definition up here from creditrepair.com, just is a term used to describe money that is set aside for a planned expense, essentially, right? And so you may think about that could be car related. I've seen many budgeters who have pets, and so they have a pet sinking fund. People have one for medical and health. Oops, sorry guys, not a great speller. Other people, you know, they have one for travel, vacation. And I see people, you know, they separate this out so they can pay for travel and then have their vacation, or, you know, the money that they spend once they get on vacation. People save for, and I can share some of mine. I have like my memberships, things like Sam's or Costco, you know, they come out yearly, but you know, if you don't budget for them, it can be, you know, a surprise. People have, making sure that you all can still see this, they consider their emergency fund a sinking fund. People have childcare. And like the list goes on, and I'll share a list on the screen. But like, again, these are all things that within a year, within 6 months, 3 months, however long your time period is, expenses that come up. If you own a car, you got car related expenses. If you have a pet, you're buying pet food, taking your pet to the vet, all of these things. If, you know, maybe you are in the perfect bill of health, but I know I go for my regular dental appointments, vision appointments, my OB appointments, my primary care physician appointments. All of those things carry a copay. And if I'm not careful, those appointments can creep up and I don't have the copay money. And then again, that is something that's money that I'm taking from something else. Or I'm just trying to figure out how to pay it, and then it ends up on my credit card. And if you can see that number here, that's my debt. We got to get that down. So I make sure that I have that set aside. Memberships. You know, if you have a Costco membership, you know that unless you have it set on automatic pay, you have to pay it whenever you go into the store again or the warehouse to shop. And like, I got the $60 one. That'll creep up on you. I'm saying the $60 one, like that's just, it's either that or I think $120. But you get my drift. And so again, sinking funds, you think about all of the things that you know are expenses that are going to come up in 3 months, 6 months, a year from now. And you want to start planning for that. I even now started doing birthdays and gifts, because these are things that come up and like you want to be able to contribute and support and give gifts to people, right? And show people that you care. And sometimes that could just be a card. It could be a happy birthday text. And other times you want to put something in that card, or you want to get them a gift card. And so again, sinking funds, just, it's like little mini savings accounts. Some are long term, some are short term, and they're just for planned expenses. And so I'm going to get more into an example of that, and I'm going to use car. So next sheet, and I'm going to bring this back down like this. Sorry that it's at a slant, guys, but this is the best way I can write with this camera angle. So for my car related expenses, right? And you're thinking like, well, okay, how much do I need to put in this sinking fund? So you can put whatever amount moves you, or you can set a goal for the envelope and then go from there. So for me, my goal was, or is, because I have not met that goal yet, $1,000. Now, I'm able to save and do this, one, in part because I share a car with my boyfriend, and we decided to split responsibilities. So I manage insurance and the car note because it was originally my car. So there's just that. And he manages all of the maintenance. So oil change, car wash, tune up, anything that needs to be fixed, tires, you know, whatever. Sorry, guys. I need to take a sip of tea real quick. Sorry, that's my spoon moving in my beverage. I don't normally like to eat or drink in these videos, but like I said, it's really early. And I needed something to wake me up. So anyway, goal, $1,000. And then you're like, well, Tasha, how did you come to $1,000? Well, one of the main expenses that come up, tires. And sometimes you're not just buying, well, I don't think you're ever just buying one new tire. You're buying a set of 4. So I researched and I looked up the tires that my SUV takes and what would be some of the best tires based on reviews and experts and things like that. And I found a mid-range cost. So there was a cheaper one, there's more expensive, and I decided to go with the mid-range cost. And so that was $650. Then I thought about oil changes. And on average, what that was costing. And so basically I just took the receipts from, or the like invoice document that you get when you get your oil change. I decided to take the average cost, which was around about $60 or so every time we took the car to get changed. You know, you do that every 3,000 miles, which they calculate to be about every 3 months or so. But we do a lot of driving because we live a bit of distance from where we work. And so there's a lot of commuting. So essentially I decided to, if it's $60 every 3 months, I decided that I would just set aside, or however often I made 3,000 miles, $200. So far now I'm up to $850. Next, I included my tags in this. And this is a yearly expense. So far I have something as needed, because the truth is that needing tires can come up, and it can come up very unexpectedly, or you'll know in a year. Or guys, and I'm not a car person, so forgive me, but I don't know how often you need to change your tires. But I'm just saying, if it's within a year's time, I need $650 annually. An oil change, like I said, happens every 3 months. And so the goal is to save up $200 so that I can pay for at least the next 2 to 3 oil changes. My tags is a yearly expense, and that cost me $120. Pretty expensive here because in Tennessee we don't have state tax. All right. And so guys, another tool that I forgot to mention that you need, and I'm going to grab it from right here because I can't believe I said this and then didn't say this. Sorry guys, there are a lot of things on my desk. Get you a good calculator. Now, I love some of the fancy calculators I see people use, but again, I work in education, particularly math education, so I had invested in a scientific calculator, and I like the scientific calculator or the graphing calculator because you can see all of what you're adding up, and so you can see if you've made a mistake, you've added too little, you've added too much, whatever the case may be. So I have 650 plus 200 plus 120. I'm up to 970, and then I like my numbers to be pretty like on the zeros or on the hundreds, so like 900, 500. And so because this was just 970, I decided to round that up to a solid 1,000. Well, now, how do I get to this 1,000, right? There are many different ways that people choose to do this. I know people who do savings challenges, right? Like you can save $1,000 in 3 months if you save $84 a week. And in 3 months time, sorry guys, that's your 1,000, right? So like if your budget allots for that, you can do that, because then that works out to be 84 times 12, and you get 1,008. So you can do it that way. However, my budget is not that flexible because I do have some high debts that I need to get rid of. And so for me, I save $80 a month. And $80 a month is only $960, and so I'm short $40. I have found ways to account for that extra $40 that I need. So I will use my taxes when they come in, any extra funds that I have coming in. And now that my student loans, the forbearance of the COVID-19, the pandemic forbearance has been extended, I decided to up this to $100 a month so that I can make up for that $40, right? Because that's just $20 extra a month over the next 3 months. I'm giving myself a little extra. So car related expenses, this is how I decided to break it down. And you know, because I own a car, this is a sinking fund that I have to have, right? Because I'm gonna have issues with my car. I'm gonna need things to be fixed. What you don't see here is gas, and because I save for gas in my cash envelopes, and so I save $50 every 2 weeks. And again, gas is something that's split between my boyfriend and I, and so that works for me. I'm just gonna share one more. This was like a not so fun sinking fund. I am gonna share one that I particularly love, and it's Christmas. Now, if you are gonna go Christmas shopping, this is a fund that you'll need. But I say it's a fun one because you don't have to give gifts for Christmas. I don't know, but I am very family oriented. I have a daughter who's 2. And so Christmas is going to always be a big thing. Now for Christmas, I decided to use a savings challenge. And so the savings challenge will give me $1,009 in 52 weeks. Now, obviously, this is going to surpass Christmas. And so what I have done was I had doubled up on some expenses. And so I will be done by December. I mean, I doubled up on some of the weeks, so I'll be done by December 1st in enough time for me to get some shopping. I decided to choose this because I didn't have a savings challenge that had already set a goal, because I didn't particularly have a way to figure out what I wanted to do. Last Christmas, I completely overspent, and even though I didn't charge too much to my card, I ended up using money that I had saved for my house, which then cost me not to be, I'm using NACA, and it cost me not to be ready. And so I missed an opportunity to move forward in the home buying process because I was completely irresponsible with my Christmas money. And that hurt, right? Like, it really hurt. And I think what hurt even more is because I bought all these things, particularly for my daughter, and then she didn't even really play with them. Or they were like Play-Doh and I had to throw it out because she had gotten like it stuck in the carpet and things, right? And so like it really hurt to know that for a few seconds of gratification, I missed out on something that I had been working really hard for. Sorry, so I'm getting into my story and I'm going to back out of that because that's not this video. So I chose to do this. And this year, my sister and I, we are going to just go on a shopping trip. So I have put some of this aside into the bank, and then the rest that I'll be saving between now and December 1st is what I'll use to buy gifts. But that'll be in another video. So now that I have how much I'm going to save and how I'm doing this, I save towards this monthly. So I group all the weeks within a month, and then I split that between my 2 checks. So for instance, for the month of August, all 4 weeks came up to $68. And so because I get paid semi-monthly, that's just 2 checks at the 15th and the end of the month, I just decided to split this in 2. And so I know every time I save for Christmas this month, I'm putting aside $34. Okay. Now, just because I have this doesn't mean I need to spend out for it. And so I need to think about, well, who am I going to be shopping for? And then like, what's the limit? So of course I have like my mom, my dad, my sis, my brother-in-law, the BF, Lauren, right? And so everybody gets, well, I'll say this. Everyone here will get a $50 spending cap, right? So that's $200 of my $1,000. And then I can start to think, okay, BF's going to get $100. Now I'm up to 3. And Lauren, because the gift that I'm getting her, she's getting one big gift, and she's 2, so I know she's not going to watch this video. She's going to get this like the big play kitchen set or whatever, and that is $200. So all in all, this comes up to 2, 1, that's 3, 4, 5. And that leaves me with money left over. And so that if I get involved in a secret Santa, excuse me, guys, Sounds like there's a frog in my throat. If I forget someone that I want to buy for, like my really good friend, I venture to call her my bestie, and she watches this, so I'm not gonna say her name. You know, I want to get her a gift, and so there's that. I still have $500 left over to make that happen. Plus, we're going on the shopping trip. I got money left over to do that. And so this is just, it just helps me put into perspective, like, yeah, Christmas is one of those, like, maybe want/need somewhere in the middle type sinking funds, but you have to plan for it, and you have to be mindful of, like, what your budget can do for this sinking fund, in terms of, like, do I have $68 this month to put towards that? And then based on what I do save, will I have enough to, you know, get a gift for everyone in my life? But then also being very cautious and mindful of what I spend. The last thing I will say is, and I'll do it this way, be mindful of your budget busters. And you're like, Natasha, what are budget busters? Literally put, these are the things that bust your budget if you do not plan for them. So some of my budget busters are like beauty, which is just for my hair. I was having to budget out the whole amount for my hair and my daughter's hair, which killed my budget. It busted my budget. To come up with $150 at one time meant that something else wasn't getting it. And so I account for that in my budget every single time. Even if it's just $10 I can put towards it, that is what I'm doing. Another budget buster were those in-app purchases for the games I play on my iPhone. Apple, and I hate that they do this, they do not take out those expenses right away. And so if you're constantly just hitting $2.99 plus tax, right, or $5.99 plus tax, you can get hit with an Apple bill for almost like $40, $50. And that's busting the budget, because that's $40 and $50 that I had for something else. Another budget buster, Ray Dunn. I would go into Home Goods or Marshalls or TJ Maxx, and I would just be racking up, right? Like every time the season changed, doing that. But there goes $60, $70 gone. So those are things that I save for, because those are things that I want. But I also don't want them to bust up my budget where I can't afford to pay for the things that actually need to be paid. So making sure you account for your budget busters. Now, those may be individualized for you. You may love purses. You may love shoes. You may love troll dolls. I don't know. You may love pens. But if you're not planful about saving for those things, they're gonna bust up your budget, and you're gonna be wondering how you're gonna pay for the things that are expected, but of course then the things that come up unexpected. All right, so enough talking about this. I'm gonna show you some of my favorite things to get started in terms of sinking funds and cash envelopes. I'm gonna work my way up from the most from free or to completely cheap in this, to like some of the things that you see some of your favorite budgeters have. So for instance, cash envelopes, very simply put, or your sinking funds, get you some envelopes. You can get 80 envelopes from the dollar store, right? Get you some envelopes, and you may say, all right, this is my car envelope, right? This is my car envelope. And now that you have your car envelope, every time you get paid, this is what you're going to get in there. So say for instance, and here's my little prop money for the sake of this demonstration, and I got these from Amazon. I will link them below. I save $80 a month. So I'm going to take out, I like to take out in the biggest bills possible. So here's 50, 70, and 80. And I go ahead and I slip it into my envelope. And that's that. I'm not going to seal it because I do want to get back into this, right? And then I'm like, well, now I need to track it. Get you an index card, right? Again, I am an educator, and so I have lots of these supplies lying around, but I'm going to get an index card. And guys, I'm going to just grab another pen that I have up here, another I love these pens. And so I know that this is a car. Sorry, guys. I just want to make sure you can see that. I made this deposit on 8/21, 21. And I may be starting off with like a zero balance, right? So let's say I'm starting off with a zero balance. I added $80 and now I have $80 in here. And so my little car related tracker will also go in here. And so this helps me keep track of when I put in and when I take out, so that I know exactly what I have in my envelope. And guys, that's it. And if I don't have like a fancy binder or anything like that, I got this from Walmart. It was 99 cents or 97 cents rather. And I can put this in here and put this away and put this in a safe place. Or if you have a safe, you know, that also works best, right? So it doesn't really take much to get started on your cash envelopes or your sinking fund envelopes. If you're like, well, index cards are cool, but I don't want to use index cards. Cool. You can, so I had these left over from some cash envelopes that I made. So they're like the card stock that you can get from like Michael's or Hobby Lobby or whatever. And these were just extra scraps that I had. And so again, you can use these as trackers, and then they're cool because if you put them in like the zippered pouches, and you can get these in a set of 12 from Amazon. This is the size A6. You can put them in here. So I'll use this $5, right? You can put them in here. Yeah. And then again, you can put your date 8/21, 21, and you're adding $5. And so your balance is $5. And then you can just put this in your envelope. I did cut this to fit. It may be like the tightest fit ever, but that's fine. And then here's your money. And then of course you have a nice little pattern in the background. And if you're like, well, that card was just way too big. Ugh, and it is. I cut it smaller, and so you can do the exact same thing, right? Or if you're like me and you wanted something a little bit more organized, I got these, and here's the website here. These were free to print, and they came in different sizes. And I print them on cardstock so that as I pull them in and out of the envelope, they could last a little longer than regular paper. And I did it in white to start off, but then you can print them on colored cardstock if you want a pop of color. And this is the first time I did this for the sake of this video, and I actually like it. So when some of these trackers run out, I think I want to also print some on cardstock. And I chose a bright color so that it can show up. Or if you're like, I want something that was already nice, I had ordered these from Amazon. And what's nice about these is that they are double-sided. So you get more tracker for longer, versus once this runs out, you're having to print these and cut these more. And these are just pink little strawberries. It has your category, your beginning balance, your date, description, what you've added or taken away in your balance. I like these. I think I didn't realize how narrow or small these are. So it does require for you to write very little, but I still like them, and I do use them in some of my sinking fund envelopes now. And then of course, if you're like, I want something just decorative and funky and fun, and maybe this is like your beach day sinking fund, right? And this is one that already has the holes in them, and so they fit really nicely in the binder. And then they have the flap, and you put your money in, and then you can close your flap. If you recall, this is the one that I use for my debt. And of course, you just stick that back right in. Uh-oh, go back in there. Sorry, guys. This is why I don't use these envelopes very often, but I do like them. And so, yeah, so just showing you my sinking funds. This is one of them. And so notice here's my car related expense. I have the money in here, and then this is my tracker. I added a little sticker, like a little wrench, you know, just to make it fun. And then I keep a running log of everything that I have done. So where I got the money from, you know, back when I was doing Uber Eats, how much I was putting in, the balance, when I paid my car registration. So no, this is interesting. I said my car tags were $120. I did not have $120 in this envelope at the time. I only had $98. So I depleted that. And then I still had to come up with the remaining balance. And then of course I add to it. And when I add to it in September, based on my budget, and that's a video that's coming, I'm gonna have $405. And it's crazy to think that I am gonna be 40% to my goal of 1,000. I know this says 250, but I was wilding. This was not gonna be enough to do anything with my car, maybe some oil changes, but this is money that I could have spent and blew on anything else, and I have it saved for my car. And so these are just some other examples here. Look, there goes my Ray done. And right now she will have 40 after I make my September deposit. I get a little anxious with my budgeting, so I like to fill in the tracker at least one deposit in advance. It usually comes back to bite me in the butt, but that is okay. I still like doing that because it brings me some joy. And then of course I'm able to, as we near the fall and Halloween things, you know, I can go and buy something and it be guilt-free. I'm trying to think of another one. Hair, right? Again, my budget was to always have enough saved up for 2 hair appointments. But now that my daughter and I go get our hair done, this is enough for her and I, and being able to save for that over time and make my appointments around that is really helpful. And to keep myself locked in and responsible, I've listed out upcoming appointments cost me and where that money is going to come from. And so this way I know exactly what I need to do with my money every time I sit down to budget. Well, I think this video has gone on long enough. This may have explained some things. This may have explained nothing. I hope it explains something, but this is just how I was able to get started. And I'll probably do more of a follow-up or more in-depth one. But please, if you have any questions or suggestions, right? The YouTube world, everybody has a suggestion and recommendation, but I welcome it. Even some feedback. Definitely leave it in the comments below. And again, if you're a returning subscriber, thank you again for coming back and supporting. Go ahead and hit that like button, say hey in the comments. And if you are new here, please consider subscribing if these are videos or content that you really like. All right, guys, I'll see you soon. Bye, Budget Buds.